Hello and welcome or welcome back to Truth Central. It's been a while, so let's catch up. Sorry to disappoint you trolls, but we are still around. You wonder what happened? Well, life happened. We've been busy, we've had a lot of birthdays, a lot of days out. But yeah, karma's all good on our front. Thanks for worrying. So, Paula M was attacked. I'm sure you guys are all aware that Steph the Alter Nerd and Sue Smith exposed Paula M during a live where they were described as mean girls. Steph the Alter Nerd shouldn't be throwing rocks whilst living in the glass house that is being linked to Andy of Popcorn Planet. I don't know if you guys are aware of all the allegations, the many allegations that are have been made against Andy of Popcorn Planet. If that's something you'd like us to look at for you, then let us know in the comments. But we didn't see the live. I didn't see it. Nick didn't see it. And a lot of people were reacting to it at the time. We didn't feel we had anything to add to that situation. And then Paula M was accused of faking her cancer diagnosis. I don't know why it seems to be that anyone fighting cancer has to then be accused of faking it. It's madness and so disrespectful. I do feel for her. Alice continues her obsession with Gerty. Every time she does a video, every time Gerty says something, Alice is all over it. Absolutely all over it. And even when people say to her, oh, don't pay attention. Oh, it's because I want proof on her to take matters further. She's obsessed, absolutely obsessed, making all these empty threats of litigation, and you'll find out. And if we do the deep dive on her, you'll see like this is just classic Alice. It's what she does to everybody. But yeah, unfortunately, she's still obsessed with Gerty. Just can't get her out of her mind. Helle Felon's closet is on fire. So Helle Felon's closet looks at Helle games, and honestly, do not waste your time. I've tried because Helle Games is nasty. Her real name's Michelle, and she's a nasty piece of work. She's made death threats against Glinda the Good. She's a prolific troll on X. She's part of that little cabal with at least 2 accounts on there. But it is like wading through sludge. Even going through the transcripts, I mean, she's here, there and everywhere, just spouting absolute rubbish. It's really hard work trying to collect evidence of what she's saying in her videos. But we don't have to, because if you're interested in that little trolloc, then head over to Helle Felon's closet. They're doing a really good job of bringing to light what this YouTube is really like. And she hates it. It annoys her, which is always a good thing. So head on over there if you're interested. It's a great little channel. And I think they're going to look at POV soon as well. Slime continues to lie in literally every post. He's still only getting like 2 or 3 likes from his little fangirls. The usual unimaginative stuff, but every single post is just full of lies. And even the trolls are noticing. Here we've got Nurse Ratchet saying that she doesn't trust Screwed Slime, doesn't trust Paz, and doesn't trust Ross. But I do think it's probably true. I mean, when you look at the lack of engagement on his posts, I think they've all realised that, he'll say, oh, I've got receipts, and it's all stuff that's just copy and pasted and could easily be made in Photoshop. He doesn't have any evidence of anything. And people keep proving that what he's saying is false. So I think he just makes it up. He's got no talent. Russ is continuing to threaten women with legal action. I can't say too much at the moment, but I will say, Russ, if you're watching, mate, it's been more than 24 hours. And maybe you should be aware that sending multiple threatening emails to people is in fact a crime. It is harassment. So give it a rest. Avid hits another wall with Sussex Police Force. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but if you haven't, head over and have a look at this video. It is ridiculous what the police are putting her through, and saying that it's an international incident. It's going to spark diplomatic problems because she doesn't live in the UK. It's madness, but you know, poor Fiona. Just take comfort in the fact that there are victims in Sussex. We know of at least two. There's Gerty, and there's Gerty's neighbour or friend or whoever she is that was also doxed and harassed. So there's at least two victims in Sussex. So there is still hope. There's hope still that we can find out, you know, get Sussex Police to get that charter and find out who's currently in charge of both the accounts, the original Atalanta 2023 and Atalanta 2024, because we don't think they're the same person. If you'd like to know more on that, again, let us know in the comments and we'll explain why we feel like that. But poor Fiona, what her and her family have gone through is just madness. Absolute madness. Trevor is burning bridges. Now, in that video that we just talked about, Fiona kept saying, Trevor doesn't want me to say anything. Trevor doesn't want me to say anything. Well, your case against Atalanta is your case against Atalanta. It's got nothing to do with Trevor. And how dare he be telling you what you can and cannot put on your channel, for a start. Then there was this video where he often says, you know, guys, when you see people talking about me on X or people saying things about me on YouTube, please don't send it to me because I have people that send that to me already. I have people collecting it for evidence. And then he calls out Kitty and made this very nasty comment to Kitty, who literally just said, you know, for your information, this has been said, you may find it useful as evidence. Now, if he doesn't want to see that, he can block her emails, he can send them to a folder, he can forward it straight to his tech people. What he doesn't need to do is go on a video and rant and have a go at her and really upset her. You know, we've talked to Kitty. Kitty's a lovely lady. She means well. She wasn't being spiteful or nasty. And it was just really unnecessary. He's now linking himself with Steph the Alternerd. That's going to upset quite a few people. They're about as bad as each other, I think, probably. And then he was pretty nasty about Gerty sending him stuff a little while ago. When what she'd actually done was send him the posts on X where the trolls were all saying, look, mass report him, mass report him. And by sending that to Trevor, he then got his solicitors to send it to YouTube to show that the reason they weren't remonetizing him was because of all these reports and they were malicious. So Gerty helped him be monetized again, and yet he called her out on one of his previous videos and said, oh, Gerty, you know, stop sending me stuff. If you don't want to see it, don't look at it. But to go on air, to go on a video to your 150,000 subscribers, that's madness. How dare you? That's so rude and so unnecessarily nasty. And although I understand the frustration of being sent stuff that you don't want to see, just don't open it. Just don't open it. There's no need to be nasty and call people out publicly. It's not on. Grabby hasn't learned. He spread a false rumour he'd had another YouTuber arrested. which we can actually go into in a moment, because when we started making this video we couldn't say anything for legal reasons, but now we can. And despite his legal woes and cleaning his ex account, which didn't work, Andy, because people have screenshots, he was then seen interacting with a particularly nasty account on a recent live. So although he's tried to distance himself publicly from the trolls, he then has them on his videos and has little chats with them. Probably should have thought about that, mate. So he's gunning for Gerty. Let's go back to May, where he's commenting on that old hag. Not liking the fact that Gerty did some parodies of him. Hilarious parodies. Very loosely based on him. And he has previously said he likes a parody and finds it complimentary when people parody him. But no, he took umbrage, as they all did, these grumpy old men. And then he started making threats and saying, oh, close of play till tomorrow to retract your statements. If not, we'll see. Oh, you've got 24 hours left. Or else. I mean, it's the same playbook. He'd obviously got advice, I think, from old absolutely rubbish. And he made a post on X to all of his lovely followers saying that he's going to take action and he's going to see what lawful options are at his disposal to stop these individuals' activities. This was also the time that he was stalking Graham, the Baron, and threatening him with lots of stuff. So we've got the usual threat of legal action. And then he said that he had a meeting with his solicitor, who I think is called Green. And he said that he was going to instruct an inquiries agent to locate the whereabouts of the individual so that legal papers can be served. And he's hashtag private investigator, hashtag locate. Interesting. So what did he do? Well, he actually sent a cease and desist letter and email, not from a solicitor, but from himself. Probably something he'd grabbed off of Google. And the address it was sent to wasn't Gerty's official address. So if you went on the electoral roll or you went on 192 to find her address, you would get her name, her street, her town, her postcode. But when she'd had to give her address to Russell Green because of his malicious copyright strikes on her YouTube channel, she'd put a little something extra in there to identify any contact that he made. And that little misnomer was in the address. So he hadn't got a private investigator unless, like his solicitor, his private investigator's name is Green. And the letter at the time was reported to the police and considered by them to be malicious communication. And they said to Gerty, do you want to press charges? Do you want to take this further? And she said, no. You know, the man's busy. He's got a business. I'm not actually here to take anyone down. I would just like it noted in case he does anything in the future. Which was pretty nice of her, considering he'd already spent, a good couple of months at this point joining in with everything. And he'd obviously been quite proud of it and told people, because Paz especially was making comments, what you're going to do with your share of her widow's pension. He'd also said something about her having to sell her car for legal fees. And the letter was dated the 19th of July and gave Gerty 7 days to comply before legal action would be taken. And the demands are ridiculous. And Gerty told me that the police at the time pointed out that Amber Heard didn't even ask Johnny Depp for a public apology and a retraction to professional and personal circle. Contact all individuals in my professional and personal circles. I mean, just crazy, the demands. It's like a petulant child. Gave her a deadline of 7 days, and the consequence of failure to comply with these demands would result in immediate legal action. Did it happen? Hell no. And then there started being these comments. So remember, this is sort of middle of July. Now we're getting to the end of August. And Atalanta's posting things like, Bertie's been pretty abusive and harassing, but has priors and is known to the police for that. And they said, priors, remember, the police came round to make you stop. And Gerty was like, what is this? Gerty doesn't have any convictions. She doesn't have priors. The police haven't been round to visit. What is going on? Why are they saying this stuff? You know, it's pretty weird. So she made a few jokes in October when she found out why they'd been saying all this stuff. And of course they can't get the joke, so Ems and Ratchet and Alice were just really happy, thinking that she's on bail and a restraining order. So in late August, about 6 weeks after the letter that Andy sent, when Atalanta started saying these little things about her having priors and police coming round, presumably Andy remembered that he can't afford a solicitor. So instead he went to the police and he gave them his letter and his little screenshots that he'd collected and wanted her investigated for harassment. And I gather he'd struggled to get them to take him seriously because they didn't contact Gerty till October when she made that joke about being on bail. In his evidence, because I've seen the letter, he emailed the letter to her as well, and she very kindly sent it on to us so that we could see it. And I mean, it's ridiculous. And there were posts made by other people, like Absolutely Atrocious, Absolutely Pez, Queen Gerty. He'd included a video by Graham that had a clip of Gerty with her permission of her doing her taxi driver guy, the Gobby Bobby, I think it is. And he tried to include that as well as evidence against her. So the police said, will you come in and have a chat with us about this? And Gerty went. And they were astonished because Gerty had never contacted Andy. She never emailed him like he did her. She never sent him post. Because when she got that letter, she just ignored it and reported it to the police. You know, she didn't have any communication with him. She never tagged him. All her ex accounts, he was blocked, you know, on all her social media. So he's only getting this stuff secondhand or through sock accounts, which he can't do now because she's limited who can view things. And then they realised, like, oh, so you don't own all these accounts, these absolutely, that's not you. So it wasn't from Gerty. And then the posts that were hers, she doesn't mention him. Sorry, my dog's crying. So they sort of had to very embarrassed go, oh, sorry, we should have actually looked into all of this before we asked you to come and have a chat. And they've dropped it. They dropped it today. They've confirmed that there is no investigation into Gerty. However, they were very interested in the evidence that she had. Because she said, well, you know, he's saying I did this, but look at all the screenshots of things that he actually said about me, naming me. He's contacted me at home. You know, he sent me this letter, he sent me this email. I didn't ask for any of it. I've never had a conversation with him. Look at all these posts where he's calling me out and threatening me. And they were very interested. And obviously she had evidence of other individuals. And now they are investigating several people. So it will be interesting to see who starts cleaning up their ex accounts in the near future, won't it? But yeah, I mean, what a waste of police time. And that's not legal action, is it? I mean, to try and get the police to sort her out for defaming him and harassing him when she actually never said his bloody name. So go Gerty. I'm sorry it's not the most flattering picture, but it's the one I know will annoy them the most. And I think she deserves that win after the things that have been said recently about her husband and her son.